Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So, in the days following Dillian Whyte's devastating, and it's fair to say devastating, probably knockout of the year, loss to Alexander Povetkin, he's made no secret of the fact that he intends to go ahead with that rematch. Eddie Hearn has named, well, he said like provisional dates like before Christmas and stuff like that. So we're not talking about a lengthy turnaround, because we're at the end of August now, going into September. I think we're in September, next week? So this isn't like a lengthy this is not a lengthy turnaround. We're talking about a fairly quick turnaround between now and, let's just pencil it in for December. You know, we'll just say that for argument's sake. You know, Dillian Whyte says he's up for it. He says he's going to knock out Povetkin. You know, people like Johnny Nelson saying it was a lucky shot. You know what Johnny Nelson is like. You know, I mean, I'm sure Johnny Nelson, in that head of his, thinks Anthony Fowler will knock Canelo out. You know, that's Johnny Nelson in a nutshell. But on a real note, we got to look at this rematch. Do I think Dillian Whyte should take it? Honestly, I don't think he should. I think that there are several reasons as to why I don't think he should take that rematch immediately anyway. If you're talking about sometime next year, after maybe a fight in between, yeah, you know, that's no problem. But in terms of next, and when I say next, I mean literally next fight in a couple of months, we'll say 2-3 months, I think that could be a mistake. And honestly, I would in fact, I'd probably pick Povetkin to win that rematch. Seriously, when I think about it now, just there, I'd probably go with Povetkin to win that rematch. People will look at that fight, the fight on Saturday night, and they would have seen Dillian Whyte do some very good things. You know, I've always said Dillian Whyte's jab is a very underrated shot, because he has a very good jab. Like, I remember back to when he fought AJ back 5 years ago, and the jab of Dillian Whyte was noticeably giving AJ some problems in there. And it's a crisp jab. It's a good jab. He doesn't throw it enough. The jab in the Povetkin fight was even better. You know, he was really doing some good work with the jab. Povetkin's always been someone who's, I've noticed, bruises quite easy in the face. So you saw Povetkin's face kind of swell up a little bit. But he was having some good success with that jab early on. And you look at Dillian Whyte and you think, okay, if he'd have kept that fight at range, just kept, you know, counting with a couple of check left hooks, which is what he was doing, landing them right hands, you know, doing some good counters and throwing some good body shots at Povetkin, he could have won that fight. You know, at the end of the day, if think about it like this, if there was an extra 15-20 seconds in that fourth round after he dropped Povetkin for the second time, he probably could have won the fight. But he ended up going and getting caught. You know, he was caught with a hell of a shot. That kind of knockout, I'm telling you now, that kind of knockout, the nature of that knockout, how brutal it was, that's gonna hamper Dillian Whyte. You know, they're the kind of knockouts you do need a lengthy amount of time to recover from. You know, people always say that, well, no, a one-punch knockout isn't necessarily as bad neurologically as taking a sustained beating for, we'll say, 10 rounds and getting stopped after that. Yes, I can see where you're coming from with that taking a beating over 10 rounds, it will shorten your career, no doubt. It will definitely have an impact on you moving forward. But a knockout like that, I'm telling you now, that's going to cause some serious issues to his punch resistance. And going straight in there with Povetkin, knowing, I mean, I think this is what you need to remember. Getting, you know, a bit of a beating for, we'll say, 10 rounds or something like that. That is very different to being in there with someone who you know with one shot, lights out. If you make that one mistake and he catches you with a similar shot or a hook or something like that, he can turn your lights out. So Dillian Whyte going into this rematch, he's going to know that. I think that knockout is going to dent his chin even further. Dillian Whyte is not chinny, right? But he doesn't have an iron chin. He took loads of AJ shots before he got knocked out. Ever since then, hurt by Hellenius. You know, he was down against Rivas. He was down against Parker. Was he hurt against someone else? I'm not 100% sure. But he's definitely looked a bit... He was hurt against Whack, actually. But he's definitely looked more vulnerable since then. Alright? And now, after this knockout, it's going to dent his chin even more, people. Definitely is going to dent his chin even more. It's going to knock his confidence knowing that he's going back in there with a guy who with one shot can turn his lights out. Povetkin, although Povetkin didn't look 100% in that fight, I noticed that in the first round. His time was a bit off. It was quite a bit off. Obviously with the uppercut it wasn't off, but with the hooks and the straight rights, his timing looked off. So he didn't look exactly, you know, superb in that fight, but he got the job done in the end. He's going to go into the rematch with Dillian Whyte knowing where he's strong, knowing what he needs to do, And I'm sure he's going to know himself, okay, maybe I wasn't exactly razor sharp in those first couple of rounds. Maybe I'll need to address that. He even said it by his own admission that he was working to land uppercuts like that against Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte has been troubled by uppercuts in the past. So Dillian Whyte, if he's going into a rematch, he's really going to need to watch out for that uppercut from Povetkin. Obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, it's what knocked him out. But I think he's going to be even more wary. I think we're going to see, if Dillian Whyte takes this rematch, which it seems likely he will, we're going to see a defensive Dillian Whyte. We're going to see a Dillian Whyte looking to move around the ring. We're going to see Dillian Whyte probably not going to want to engage. When you look at Anthony Joshua, and you saw what he did against Andy Ruiz, from the minute he lost that fight to the minute that rematch, happened or ended, I said AJ will win that fight on points. He'll just box him. He won't engage him. It'll be a stinker. He'll just think he won't engage him. That's exactly what happened. Dillian Whyte doesn't have AJ's athleticism. I don't think he can move like AJ for 12 rounds. I don't think he's the discipline. People say AJ loves to go in there and get guys out of there, and you could see he wanted to do that against Ruiz, but he held back. I think with Dillian Whyte, I don't think he has that. I think Dillian Whyte is such a fiery character that it's almost not in him to box safe. That he will end up engaging with Povetkin, or exchanging, I should say, with Povetkin, and end up getting caught again. I think that can happen. And I think that, as I said, Dillian Whyte's chin will be a little bit more vulnerable than it already was going in there with Povetkin again. People, I'll be picking Povetkin in this rematch. I don't think Dillian Whyte should take it straight away. I think that a knockout like that, you need time to recover from it. And I don't think having this fight November, December is enough time. I think that even to take a tune-up fight, I don't think that's enough time. I think you need a bit longer than that after a knockout like that to recover from it. So with Dillian Whyte, let's forget about WBC, let's forget about Tyson Fury, AJ, all that. Let's just talk about Povetkin. I'm going with Povetkin in this rematch. If it happens November, December time, I think Povetkin's going to win. I personally, if I was managing Dillian Whyte, obviously Dillian Whyte's managing himself, but if I was in charge of Dillian Whyte's managerial end, I'd be saying, no. Take one or two tune-up fights against guys of a similar style. Not necessarily similar level, similar style. Maybe a short pressure fighter heavyweight. Obviously, there's not many like Povetkin who are as skilled, but just to get a bit of confidence back up, take a 10-rounder or something like that. Get that confidence back up rather than just go all guns blazing in there and take on the guy who knocked you out with one punch again. That's what I think Dillian Whyte should do. Will he do it? No, he's going to take that rematch. I think that Dillian Whyte can beat Povetkin, but I just think that it's too soon. I think that knockout was bad. I think Povetkin knows where he's strong. He knows where Dillian Whyte is weak. And Dillian Whyte, as I said, he's not like an Anthony Joshua. He's not as athletic. He's not as rangy. He's not as long. I don't think he has the discipline to be able to move around the ring for 12 rounds. I think it's that innate. Like I've said this about Dillian Whyte. He is a guy who could walk into a room full of mirrors and start a fight with himself. So I don't think he has the discipline to be able to box safe without having, decide, I want to show my cojones and go in there and try and knock this guy out. I think something like that will happen. And I think what will happen is Dillian Whyte will get too aggressive. He'll exchange with Povetkin. He'll get caught again. And I think that the shot doesn't even have to be a good shot. Won't even have to be as crisp and as clean as the uppercut that landed on Saturday. I think it might even be a hook or something like that, or a right hand that just happens to land on Dillian Whyte's chin, and we'll either put him down and have him in serious trouble, or we'll take him out again. That's what I think will happen. Seriously. With AJ, I was confident. Yeah, put him in there at Ruiz again. He'll box him. He'll win on points. That's fine. But with this, I'm like, no. Dillian Whyte, I think, will lose this rematch. Seriously. So, those are my thoughts on this. Like I said, I've gone on probably longer than I should have in this video, but I'm just giving my 2 cents on the whole situation. Let me know yours down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Dillian Whyte should or shouldn't take the rematch? Are you like me, thinking if this rematch happens November, December time, you're putting some money on Povetkin? I put money on him to win this fight on the weekend, but I put him on late. I'll be putting it on him early this time. Let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe. Of course, if you are new to the channel, we have a Patreon account. Link is in the description if you want to go there. Some podcasts there. Have a look. And as always, people, I will talk to you.